posts and getting nothing, breaking them off and shaking them. I know it's Sunday night. I know people pretty much bedding down tonight for some, not all people. Some people wide awake and they enjoying whatever they're doing, kicking it, which is all good. So my purpose and what I'm pushing out to you is for really for people to be able to understand. So I can get all these in here. Okay, I'm gonna try to see if I can. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'll push out all those invites. How you doing, everybody? Kim Coon, thanks for tuning in. Anybody else who tuned in as well? We're gonna get right down to this. I know people got their night, and I don't want to take up any night and like that from them. But I was very. I didn't really know how to be able to come at this right here. I didn't know. I'm usually very vocal, verbal, expressive person. I'll make sure everybody can hear me. Can you hear me? Make sure everybody can hear me. Please share what I'm going to put out right now as well. Put it on your feed and stuff like that. Share it, because what I'm going to talk about, we had to start talking about the things that were put in place to not only hold a chain or put us in a position to where we were bounded physically by chains, but understanding that the common sense was you couldn't physically keep bounding people, and then you create a natural uprising of that people automatically. But if you can create a mental or an emotional chain, you can sit back and you don't have to do anything in that situation, right? Or not just that situation, but period, for everything that goes on. So what I'm going to talk about is us understanding those aspects of what things that were put in place. How you doing, Kendra, as well? So we're going to talk, and I'm telling, and when I talk about financial freedom, period. Us being able to understand that not only is our dollar powerful, but there's a specific reason why when we look at African American neighborhoods, when we look at African American communities, how you doing, Kevin Brown, Danita, how you doing as well? When we look at African American communities, look at our things like that, we're our communities, our people are always put in a position or thought to be put in a position where we always have to be the beggar. We're never the one actually lending or in a position of lending or a position of power, or where we're putting money in places, but we're always in a position where it's sometimes we're being the beggar of such, right? So this is what I want you to understand, is that from the very beginning, the plot has been to always divide and separate to conquer African Americans. Now this is from slavery. This is way back from slavery. So yeah, we want to get into this, and I know it may be offensive to some people, and you may not be able to handle it, but I'm gonna tell you what. You better start taking note to understanding not just how powerful you are, or not how strong a position that you are as a person, man, woman, whatever, but even as African American, Latino as well, right? Puerto Rican, how we want to say it, but also in a position of understanding why the method was used. So my thing is, a lot of people don't know about Willie Lynch letter. And I want you to understand something. I Google everything I do. I research it, and this ain't my first time talking about Willie Lynch. And, for some it may be interesting, for others it may be not. But like I say, I think that every person that commits kills another African American or sell drugs in the community or whatever, sex trafficking, all that stuff, they need to be handed this letter and have them sign this letter with their name on it and saying, "Thank you, Willie Lynch. I appreciate you." And they need to be giving that letter be put in their file or they're in prison, because that's exactly what happened. So I want you to understand. I'm going to read this letter, And I know this maybe not be for everybody, stuff like that. I know some people came on here, they got off. Thank you very much, whatever. But the intellectual, we always, this, I'm going to tell you, this is one of the reasons why I am not in the same line sight, or I'm not in the same agreement when we talk about the Bible. And it's not an attack on anybody. But I want you to understand something. When you read this letter, I want you to understand the words in it and who was supporting it. And then I like to connect things out, and then we'll come back and we'll connect it, stuff like that, right? So, push this out to my people that no longer want to be slaves. Please do not send this out to people who are still invested in being a financial slave, an emotional slave, a mental slave, or a physical slave. Right? No, we don't want those people. Let them stay exactly where they at on that plantation. Right? So this is the Willie Lynch, infamous Willie Lynch letter, right? Now I want you to understand something. It says this speech was said to have been delivered by Willie Lynch on the bank of the James River in the colony of Virginia in 1712. Understand that. Virginia, the banks of Virginia in 1712. Lynch was a British slave owner in the West Indies. We know what the West Indies are, right? So people understand what the West Indies are. So that, okay. He was invited to the colony of Virginia in 1712 to teach his methods to slave owners there. Like I tell you, it's going to get very emotional, and I want, but let's get out of the emotional aspect of it and understand. How you doing, Carter Florence? What we're talking about when we talk about people that deliberately did things against us in slavery, and it's still happening today. But the problem with us now today is that we become so want to be, thinking that we need to be acceptive, and we want everybody to accept us. We need to stop doing that. We need to start understanding, being educated about the position that we stand in, and standing in a position of being intelligent and understanding what's against us or what's trying to be against us. So, here go the letter. Faison, how you doing, Faison Jenkins? So here go the Willie Lynch letter. He came. He was a slave owner in the West Indies. They invited him to Virginia to teach his methods. Listen to what I'm saying to you people. His methods of slavery. Gentlemen. Well, greetings, gentlemen. I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Now, I want you to understand. I'm here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Some of your problems with slaves, right? Slavery itself was a huge problem within itself. I'm here to help you solve some of them, right? Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for control of slaves. Listen, what he says is, where I have experimented. This evil person, coward, fucking coward, all he was. This is what he said when he was referring to our ancestors as slaves. He said the invitation reached him on his modest plantation in the West Indies. So they really thought they had some, like it was great. To be honest with you, I wish I could dig this motherfucking grave up and punch him dead in his motherfucking chest, knock all his fucking teeth out. Right? Where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. You know Rome held slaves as well, right? Slaves had an uprising in Rome. And he's bragging right now. He says, ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. As our boat sails south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, listen to what I'm about to say to you. I want you to understand these words right here. Listen. As our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish. Yes, Yes, you fools. And I don't mean to say that lightly. You fools. Listen. Listen to what I'm putting in here. Listen to what I'm telling you. It says, as our boat sails south on the James River. James River. James, okay. Name for our illustrious king. King James. Now listen, I want you to, hey Ella, how you doing? I want you to understand what I'm saying to you here in this letter. Willie Lynch was a demented, demonic human being who was abusing our ancestors. And he says he experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods for control of slaves. Experimented, which means that he experimented on our ancestors. He experimented on our people. And when you experiment on people, what are you doing? All type of tests, right? All type of tortures, all type of whatever. He experimented on our people like we was a piece of shit, pretty much. But then he did it in this. Listen, as our boat sails south on the James River, James, named for our illustrious kings, whose version of the Bible we cherish. People, this is why I don't go to church. And if you understand anything about church, the man just sat here and said it. Whose version of the Bible we cherish. So in this thing that Willie Lynch was saying in his letter, not only did he experiment on our ancestors as cattle or as some type of, like we wasn't human, experimenting in methods of slavery, new and old, on our ancestors, but also he recognized and pretty much gave an applause to, at that point in time, King James, whose version of the Bible they cherished. Because I don't cherish the Bible personally in that way. So who version of the Bible? Version. So which means that they came out with their own version of the Bible. We can take this and I can tap dance this all day long, to be honest with you. There's a reason why there's a war religiously when it comes to the Middle East and the Quran. There's a reason why there's a war when in implement of things when it comes to Russia or when it comes to China and things when it comes to those type of things. The King James Bible version wants to be worldwide. And there are countries like the Muslim countries who do not want that version of the Bible because that version of the Bible is about white people and the lies they tell, right? I'm not saying all white people are liars. I'm saying in this right here, what he's saying, what they doing then, the version of the Bible then was about lying and being able to do things to people and thinking that they was righteous in doing it because it was their version of the Bible. It wasn't a true original text of the Bible. Now listen, he says right here in the letter, as our boat sails south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish. Now, I can get into the Bible so much and tap dance that thing, but we're going to keep going on with this. I'm reading a Willie Lynch letter, Kirk Seeley. I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its highways in great numbers, you are here using a tree and a rope on occasions. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you are having uprisings. Slaves are running away. Your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires. Your animals are killed, which means that we was revolting, pretty much. Like they revolted in Rome, we were also revolting. How you doing, Sunshine? I'm talking about Willie Lynch and the Willie Lynch and the letter he wrote as he was torturing our ancestors as slaves. This is pretty emotional letter, but I want you to understanding. I'm gonna finish reading the letter and I'm gonna connect it to from then to now. So, gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate your problems. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. So, slaves was a problem, or the uprising of slaves was a problem at this point in time, right? Here's why: we just letting it be printed out and it be read, and it be read by every African American child, Latino child. Period. We need to let them read this, let them understand what the methods is against them. Listen, in my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves, controlling us. First of all, Willie Lynch, I hope your spirit, in some type of way, still walks, because I'm gonna tell you, your spirit is a lie. That's why your spirit should be chained to 1,000 hells. Your spirit is a lie. Period. Couldn't control us, and never will we be controlled. You don't control the fruit of the earth already. So, and he says, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. Whoa. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and they will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On top of my list is age. But it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. People, come on, man. Come on, man. There is intelligence, size, sex, size of plantations, status on plantations, attitude of owners. All this was pretty much to get us to separate from one another, to be divided, not to hold fast and be together, but to be divided. Whether the slaves live in the valley or on a hill east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. That was his thing. That's what he wanted, to create a distrust and an envy among us. to divide us, because we were so strong already. That's why you have now, listen to me, man. That's why go to Chicago, man, you have vice lords, GDs, and BDs separated by a word and fighting and killing each other, but don't even understand it was implemented long ago that they would do this. Long ago they would do this to kill each other over a sign, over a color, over whatever, a word. When the truth is, together, that's too damn powerful. But he created the distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, and admiration. I want you to understand that our people was automatically, we was admiring of one another, trusting of one another, loving of each other, which created and made us stronger in each other as well. And the Willie Lynch letter was to let them know that we want to break that up. And how we're going to break that up? We're going to create this trust, envy, and jealousy amongst them. And he wanted to separate us be from size, skin color. That means from light skin and dark skin, and sex and intelligence, right? The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-ruling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male. Must pitch old against young. And the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves. Creating division. Creating division. Because I want you to understand the light-skinned slaves against the dark-skinned slaves, creating division. Now this is all done on the bank of, hey Nakia, how you doing? The banks of the James River, named after their Lord King James, whose version of the Bible they enjoy, whose King James version of the Bible people still go to church with all day. Come on, man. Come with it. Come with it. They made a version of the Bible. Not the original text of the Bible. They made a King James version of the Bible that fit their people and that they could use to rule over our people. And then you walk out right here and you see all these damn black churches still reading the damn King James version of a Bible. Come on. Boy, people. Sorry. Okay. The black, you must use the dark-skinned slaves versus light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slave versus dark-skinned slave. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. Listen to me. Listen. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. Listen, people. Listen, I don't know what. This type of shit. Every African American man, Puerto Rican in prison need to be handed this damn letter and they need to read it every day. Every day. And to understand that it was designed for us to kill each other. It was meant for us to kill each other. Because the only way to defeat the strong is the strong have to fight the strong. The weak can't fight the strong. And they were weak. And it still is weak. So, man, I'm telling you, this letter is really emotional. And it make want to... I wish Will Lynch was walking around right now. I'll hit him so fucking hard, his bowels will drop down and explode. Man. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. So pretty much, they want to implement separation, division amongst us African American men and women, light skin and dark skin, tall, short, intelligent, although not so much intelligent. Thank you. I appreciate it, Nakia, so much. I appreciate it. And for some reason or another, man, these people don't get it, man. Today, we're stronger together, and the energy that we permit, the earth already, the sun loves us, the stars, the moon love us, the earth loves us. You look at our nutrients in our body. We don't have to take a lot of supplements and stuff to be strong and fit. We are the earth. We are all the nutrients of the earth already. I'm going to print this out. Actually, I'm going to print this whole thing out. And I'm going to get this and I want to put this around in places. Because what I want us to understand is that it was designed for us to come against each other. And why is that? Because it became a better method for us to control or be controlled by them. And then they go and they say this. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. Now, they must love, respect, and trust only us. I want you also to understand the reason why in the King James Version, Jesus is mentioned as white. For many years, I grew up and I wondered why a white Jesus in the house. Why was a white Jesus on the thing? And trust me, you couldn't touch the damn picture. That picture is like the best, the most valuable thing in the household. I'm glad that damn picture fell and broke. A white Jesus on the wall, and will act like that's just the most valuable thing ever. A white Jesus. But then you understand ignorantly that the Jesus was never white. And they already told you their version of the Bible. Right? You're Van Hawkins, how you doing? So what I want to break down to you, and I want you to understand, is that when we're talking about black love, African American love, melanated love, we're already a people that love each other. We love each other and we enjoy each other and we have this strength amongst each other. But this Willie Lynch letter was designed to divide us. It's a lot of hate and devil in a person to want to do this to another people, period, right? So, anyone don't trust, now listen, they must love, respect, and trust only us. So you want us to hate and envy each other, but love, respect, and trust only white people. Same white people holding us in slavery. You see how the mental aspect of that is? The mental aspect of that is to be able to fuck us up so much mentally that we love our slave owner and hate the other slave next to me. But doesn't it talk in the Bible also about love your owner, love your master? Yeah, it's the King James Bible version that's pushed out, right? This is why you have to start thinking for yourself and understanding that there's a lot of shit that we need to start correcting in our own households. One of them be take that fucking King James Version Bible and toss that bitch as far as you can away from your fucking household. Your relationship with God is a relationship with you. They use a version of the Bible to destroy that. They came with their own version of the Bible, what they want to do to try to control the people, right? That's why they have a distrust, and that's why they want to fight so much when it comes down to Islam, because the Quran is not the Bible, and the Muslims don't even care for the Bible because they know the Bible's a lie. Now, but it's necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, listen, if used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you. Let's make a slave. It was an interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature and the slave nature in particular with a view to practical results. I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men, and by every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity the needed to know the material on which they were to work. Conscious of the injustice and wrong they were every hour perpetuating, and knowing what they themselves would do were they the victims of such wrongs. They were constantly looking for the first signs of the dreaded retribution. People, the Willie Lynch letter was designed to separate us, make us, because I'm gonna listen to something. The Willie Lynch letter was just it would never be successful in no type of situation, right? Because society started from us. So the whole Willie Lynch letter thing was just, it was something that they wanted to use. And eventually, even now, as you see, the crumbling down of that foundation of that letter, because we're more intelligent, we're still developing. Our people, our ancestors we had societies way for white people. Even had white people were living in fucking caves in Europe. We had developed whole societies with buildings and infrastructure and light and electricity already. And white people living in fucking caves in Europe. Caves. Moors went to Europe and civilized Europe. The Moors. We just got to start reading upon our history and understanding. First thing you do, you take that goddamn King James Bible version and you toss that shit out your house. And you start getting books upon the Moors and civilization as it was before. And understanding this is why they wanted to spread Christianity, because it allowed them to almost immediately enslave an entire population of people in the mind. Then they want to turn around and you see, he said, listen, that's why I don't do Catholics. I don't do Catholics. A white Mary. Mary ain't white. They still got a white Jesus in Catholic Church. Jesus was never white. But you can't tell a Catholic that because they believe what they want to believe. Even in audacity of truth that you can sit there in front of them and tell them. A white person can't stand outside when it's fucking 90 degrees. They got a damn sunburn all they got in their body. But yet, you all were damn white in Jerusalem, Bethlehem, where it gets, what, 110, 120 degrees? Come on, man. This is why we got to become more, not just becoming more educated, but we got to start implementing this into our children. And letting them understand the Bible itself. And then here's another thing, too. When we go to all these communities, all these places right here, all these places, the first thing they want to do is pick up a King James Bible verse, so we're going to read from the Bible. But the Bible itself has some contradictions within it if you just sit there and read it. If something's so perfect, it wouldn't have contradictions. But because they made their own version of it, it becomes contradictory. Because they want to say Jesus was white. It wasn't white. And it wasn't until what? This 2000s, people start saying, you know what? Jesus wasn't white. And as people start realizing that, now they want to go back home. Well, no, Jesus wasn't white. He was, no. Because the lie was uncovered. And the more lies uncovered, it says in the Bible also, obey your master, make your master please your master, right? Something like that. But also obey your master and please your master. But yet Jesus killed the masters or killed the slave owners of who his people, right? Or God killed when the people when Egyptians had his people in slavery, he freed them. So that contradicts them a little bit right there, right? What I'm trying to get across to you to understand something is that, people, we're already bound for greatness. We're already talking about greatness. We're already in the line of greatness. It is no reason for us to walk around here hating each other. Every thug, gangbang, whatever, I want you all to read this letter. And I want them to understand it is already implemented for you to go out here and try to shoot each other and kill each other over what? Nothing. But it's designed to create what? Envy, distrust, and separation. Not togetherness, right? Because they was already having problems. We come together. But the more you implement it, the physical of chains, beatings, those type of things, it drew people together. It drew us together. Right? But the moment they start doing the mental stuff of pitting us against each other, dark against light-skinned, tall against short, man against woman, woman against man, the field slave and the house slave, still a slave, that created the mental separation, which lasted for hundreds of years. But now we got to break that shit down. This letter right here, people, I'm talking about this letter every day. Fuck Willie Lynch. Fuck him. And whoever likes him, fuck them too. Because I'm going to tell you something. This was only meant to destroy us. And if we continue to follow it, it's going to continue to cause us harm and pain and destroy us instead of us coming together, understanding. That whole GD, Vice Lord shit, that Crip blood stuff, put that shit down. Lay that shit to the side. Fuck that shit. Because I'm going to tell you something. It's in the letter. They want you to create the GD. They want you to create the BD. They want you to create the Vice Lord, the Crip, the blood. They want you to create the Latin King or the Soul Lords, whatever. They want you to create that because it created division. It created division automatically. And when it creates division automatically, that means it's pitting me against you. While they sit on the fucking porch and watching us fucking sit and kill each other, they still have reign over us. But the moment we're no longer killing each other, but we're bound together, guess what? We tear that fucking porch up. Think about it. Anybody who wants to mentally implement a division, a separation, or distrust amongst people, you don't do that against people who weak. You do that against people who strong than you. You can't physically beat them. You mentally ain't even up to their par because our ancestors created civilization, so it's already in us. How do we defeat them? How do we keep them divided? How do we keep them separating? Oh, we're going to implement these methods. So what we had to do is start implementing methods that contradict and go directly against this, creating methods of togetherness, methods of love, methods of trust, methods of being able to get along with each other, methods of supporting each other, methods of lifting each other up. People, I'm against the Willie Lynch letter. I always have been. First time I read this damn thing. That's why I quit gang banging at 17 years old. John Marshall High School, Chicago, Illinois. I was a Black P. Stone. Black P. Stone. And on the west side of Chicago, Black Stone. And John Marshall High School, I'll go around there banging and stuff. But one day, man, I was sitting there. How you doing, Janai? And I read this letter. And I forgot who gave me this Willie Lynch letter. I think at the group home I was in. He gave me this Willie Lynch letter. And I read this letter. I read this letter, I think, 5 times. And I read it, and I just read it, and I was like, what, and I researched, I did a little Google, whatever, back then we had too much, but, and I realized that the Willie Lynch letter was designed for me to destroy my other brother, my sister, my mother, my father. But me to sit around and honor him. Because remember they said, the only people that they should trust, the slaves should trust, is them. Love them. Trust them. Honor them. Remember, they went down the James River of the honor of their Lord and King, King James, whose version of the Bible we honor. Whose version of the Bible we honor. Willie Lynch. I wish I could get this motherfucker alive. I wish you could bring him back. I beat this motherfucker so bad his balls are separated from his body. I hit that motherfucker so hard his fucking heart would fall on his ass. I would literally take my hand and rip this fucking whole body apart. Evilness. That's all that shit is, evilness. But what we have to do now is conquer evil with love. Because love conquers evil all day long. Don't believe what this evil person sit here and says. But I want you to understand something, that we have to be able to be deliberate in what we're trying to do. We have to be deliberate in what we're going to do. Okay? So, this Willie Lynch letter, man, I'm going to keep talking about this, man, every day the rest of this month, because we need to start understanding, not about Black History Month, but about us being able to just be intelligent and understanding what's against us, or what was put in place to be against us, and what's continually still used today. They may not come out and say we're going to use a Willie Lynch letter, but they still implement methods to use the Willie Lynch letter to create separation, distrust, envy, and competition against each other. All right? So, you all have a blessed night. We're going to talk about this tomorrow, Monday. I hope I get more people on here. If I don't mind. But we're going to push this out, all right? You all have a blessed night. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.